What if the ordinary 5-cent piece sitting in your change jar right now carried a quiet secret from 1979, one that collectors still hunt for decades later? Look closer. Feel the weight of that cool metal between your fingers. This is not just another nickel. It is a Jefferson nickel from a year when America was shifting, when gas lines and inflation filled the headlines, and when the United States Mint poured nearly 800 million of these coins into everyday life. Most slipped through cash registers and vending machines without a second glance. Yet a handful survived with something rare, perfect details that turned pocket change into a piece of living history. Picture the moment this coin was born. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 463 million without a mint mark. Denver added more than 325 million bearing a small d. San Francisco produced only proofs for collectors, never meant for circulation. These numbers sound enormous, and they are. That is why almost every 1979 nickel you find in change is worth exactly 5 cents. But numbers alone do not tell the full story. The real drama lives in the details most people never notice. Turn the coin slowly under a light. On the front, Thomas Jefferson faces left in profile, the same design Felix Schlag created in 1938. In God We Trust curves along the left. Liberty and the date 1979 sit on the right, separated by a small star. The portrait feels timeless, almost solemn. Now, flip it. Monticello rises in the center, Jefferson's beloved Virginia home. Above it, a pluribus unum. Below, the words United States of America and 5 cents. The building looks solid, dignified, but look at the steps leading up to the portico. That is where the hidden story begins. Most 1979 nickels show those steps soft, blurred, or incomplete. The Mint's high-speed presses often failed to strike them fully. Collectors call the rare exceptions full steps. When 5 or 6 clear, unbroken steps appear across Monticello, the coin suddenly changes character. It becomes a condition rarity. Only a tiny fraction of the hundreds of millions ever received that designation from professional grading services. One 1979D example graded M 67 full steps sold for $4,500. Others in slightly lower gem grades still bring hundreds. The difference is not magic. It is preservation and strike quality that almost no one expected from a mass-produced 5-cent piece. Mint marks matter too. Philadelphia coins carry no mark at all. Denver shows a D to the right of Jefferson below the date. Proofs from San Francisco display an S, and 1979 proofs come in 2 styles, Type 1 with a filled, somewhat blob-like S, and Type 2 with a clearer S. The Type 2 is scarcer among proofs and can command stronger prices in top deep cameo grades. Still, even the finest proofs usually stay in the low hundreds unless they reach absolute perfection. Realistic values stay grounded. Circulated coins remain face value. Nice uncirculated examples without full steps often trade for only a few dollars. The real money appears only when condition and strike combine in the highest levels, or when a true mint error appears. Errors do exist. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or the dramatic wrong planchet pieces struck on copper cent stock can reach hundreds or even thousands, depending on how complete and dramatic they are. Yet these are genuine rarities, not everyday finds. Most people will never hold one. That is why the hunt itself becomes the emotional core of collecting. Think about what draws a person to stare at a 5-cent coin for minutes under a magnifying glass. It is more than money. It is the quiet satisfaction of discovering something the world overlooked. A 1979 nickel that still shows sharp steps and original luster has traveled 47 years without serious damage. It may have sat in a drawer, a jar, or a forgotten roll, while the rest of its siblings were smooth in commerce. Holding one feels like holding a small time capsule from the final year of the 1970s, an era of disco, rising interest rates, and the early days of personal computers. Collectors feel that connection deeply. Some chase full date and mint sets. Others specialize only in full steps Jeffersons. A few search solely for error coins. What unites them is the same spark, the belief that ordinary objects can still hide extraordinary stories. When you examine your own 1979 nickels, Ask yourself the same questions they ask. Are the steps complete? Is the luster unbroken? Does the coin still look as if it just left the press? Here is the rehook that keeps the search alive. Somewhere in a forgotten piggy bank or an old coffee can, a high-grade full steps example may still wait. It does not need to be a legendary rarity to matter. Even a clean, well-struck 1979 nickel with strong eye appeal can bring a smile and a modest premium. The real value is the moment of discovery itself. The second you realize this common-looking coin is not entirely common after all, condition decides almost everything. Professional services like PCGS and NGC grade on a 70-point scale. Circulated coins fall below 60. Mint state begins at 60 and climbs toward perfection at 70. Full steps designations add another layer of desirability. A coin that looks ordinary in a pocket can transform under magnification into something a serious collector will pay real money for. Yet the market stays honest. No one is getting rich from ordinary 1979 nickels. The highest prices belong only to the true condition rarities and dramatic errors. That honesty is what keeps the hobby healthy and the stories believable. Imagine the atmosphere of 1979. Jimmy Carter was president. The Iran hostage crisis was about to unfold. The first Sony Walkman would appear the next year. Through it all, these nickels moved from hand to hand, buying newspapers, candy bars, and bus rides. Each one carried a tiny piece of that year. When you hold one now, you hold a fragment of that ordinary American life. So look through your change tonight. Check the jar on the dresser. Open the roll you never spent. Ask yourself, could this 5-cent piece still hold a secret worth more than its face? What would you feel if the steps on Monticello suddenly stood out clear and sharp under the light? If this story made you reach for your own nickels, leave a comment and tell me what year you found. Subscribe if you want more quiet treasures from ordinary coins. The next forgotten piece of history might already be in your pocket, waiting for someone patient enough to really look.